Hi, my name is Angela Fagg with Messengers of Truth from Cape Coral, Florida. Copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in the favor of fair use. Wanted to get that out of the way. And also, if YouTube cuts off, down in my description is a link to my other channels on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. And all of them will be playing live at the same time, so you can go over there. Earlier today, I messed up on the date because Jimmy told me that it was January 31st, but it's actually February 1st at, I did it again. I don't know what time it is. Jimmy, what time is it? Forgot to bring my phone.
1:32.
It's February 1st, 2025 at 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so today I have some videos. The first one is about the Internet of Things. Everything that I'm doing is for educational purposes and for criticism and comment and news reporting, because I believe that more people need to have more knowledge of the things that have been going on around them for the last couple of decades. Okay, so the first video is about the Internet of Things. I would like you to pay close attention, and here we go. Well, I don't think I'm ready to connect, even though I use the internet all the time. But I don't connect the way what they're talking about. I don't use myself. I don't use those wearables. And a matter of fact, I stopped using my Bluetooth headphones as well. But I do play other games and whatnot, which we'll find out more on that stuff. Now, this is the man, his name is John McAfee, which I hope I'm saying that properly. This is going to be a short introduction to him. And then later on, sometime this next week or next weekend, we will do a video exclusively on him and about all the things that he's done. And he's no longer with us anymore. Sorry. I'm learning right now is the first time I'm doing this with trying not to ask Jimmy any questions. So I can do lives every day in the morning time because it's better for me in the morning time. All right, so here's John McAfee.
Good morning, John McAfee here. I am dissed constantly for using Gmail as my email system. Let me explain something to you. If you think you have any privacy whatsoever with an encrypted system, whether it's an email system like Proton Mail or an encrypted messaging system like Signal. You have no fucking privacy. Encryption was designed 35 years ago to prevent a man-in-the-middle attack, meaning someone between your transmission and your receipt. There's no man in the middle anymore. We don't need them. Your fucking smartphone is the surveillance device preferred by every government on the fucking planet. Do you know how easy it is to plant malware? Go on Pornhub. If you've been on Pornhub, someone is now listening to you. All you have to do is do a drive-by of a website, and it sets the download on authorized applications flag. The first click, you now have malware that is doing two things: watching your inputs before they're encrypted and transmitting them, and reading the outputs after they are fucking encrypted, people. Encryption is a worthless piece of shit old technology that is being marketed as a safe system. There is no safety anymore. There is no privacy. I use Gmail for one reason. The last company that requires this fucking subpoena from a government in order to give them your information. And their lawyers have 30 fucking days to review the subpoena. 30 days is enough for me. I change my fucking email every 15 days. Wake up, people. You have no more privacy. You are being sold a fucking bill of goods which is worthless with encryption. And thank you for listening.
So encryption really is not so good, right? And the more apps that you download and things like that, you're just opening yourself up to more and more stuff. And that's just the way that it is. And the way it has been for a long time. One time when I was, God. This was still in the 90s. I think it was 98 or 99, probably 99. Or maybe it was 2001. I think it was 99. It was 99 right before, the 2000 and K. Everything was going to shut down. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, we were sitting on the back porch, and at that time we just had mostly flip phones. I don't even think they had camera phones yet. And we were, talking some business, and my mom came out there, and she was like, she said, you guys are all fucking idiots. That's what she said. And I was like, Mom, what are you talking about? She's like, why do you talk about things in front of those phones like that? You think those phones aren't listening to you? Of course they're listening to you. Why do you think they came out now and they're so much smaller than what they used to be? You really shouldn't talk about anything over the phone. That's what she said. Over the phone or with those cell phones near you. And I think she was also talking about the pagers too. And I just thought, she's crazy. No, she wasn't. She wasn't crazy. She was just educated and knowledgeable about things. But I still thought she was crazy at the time. So this is the kind of future we're going into. And I know that Majority Report came out a while ago, but I just figured we would reiterate that we're going to go into, you might do something wrong. You're going to get in trouble before you do something, because you don't have any choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody has a choice for things to change. And which isn't true, because that's why prophecy can change slightly and all the way. It absolutely can, because there's always ifs. The person can change their mind on what they're doing and go a totally different direction. Okay? So, but what was going to be implemented on all of us is something like this.
Okay, Jed, what's coming?
Double homicide, one male, one female. Killer's male, white, 40s.
Set up a perimeter and tell them we're en route. I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks. Give the man his hat.
The future can be seen.
All we have to run on are the images that they produce.
We see what they see.
There hasn't been a murder in 6 years. There's nothing wrong with the system. It is perfect. I agree.
Murder can be stopped.
Tell me exactly what it is you're looking for.
Flaws. You ever get any false positives? We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will.
The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
The system can't be wrong.
You say something, Chief?
No.
You're in a lot of trouble, John. I have a warrant in my pocket that says murder.
Don't run.
You don't have to chase me.
From 20th Century Fox
He set me up. He set me up!
and DreamWorks Pictures.
Who's the victim? I've never heard of him, but I'm supposed to kill him in less than 36 hours.
He's coming here to get her.
Tom Cruise
I need your help. If you contain information, I need to know how to get at it.
in a Steven Spielberg film.
I have to know. I have to find out what happened in my life. You tell me, who was it that set this up?
I don't know.
How about now?
On June 21st, everybody runs.
I love you.
No, it's hard.
Minority Report.
I don't want to live there. I don't. Because I change my mind all the time. I change my mind absolutely all the time. I can't even make a decision on what I'm going to make for dinner. I change my mind so many times throughout the day. By the time we get there, it might be something totally different. That's just the way it is. So, I mean, I don't agree that... I don't agree with it. And I don't agree with AI taking over our lives. I don't. Or being, shot up with brain interfaces. All right. It's just sad. You know what I'm saying? It's like I never thought we were going to be coming into this right here. Now we're going to talk about how the different things that you drive and whatnot or use takes your data. First, I'm going to show you the car one. Here you go.
On June 8th, 2024, Brian was driving his 2023 Toyota Corolla GR on the highway. He then noticed that something was wrong. Smoke started pouring into the interior. Brian pulled over to take a look and see what was going on. And before he knew it, the front end of the car was completely in flames. Some of the damage was covered by insurance, but the remaining cost was to be covered in a warranty claim by Toyota. After all, the car was only 1 year old and just caught fire for no apparent reason. But to his horror, Toyota denies his claim. Why? According to their reply, his car had sent data packets to headquarters indicating that he'd driven in excess of 85 miles per hour at some point during his ownership. Among other excuses, they concluded that they couldn't provide any assistance due to his irresponsible driving. This was despite the fire having nothing to do with how fast he'd driven the car at a completely separate time. For context, the GR Corolla is a rally car which can do 0 to 60 miles an hour in under 5 seconds. This scenario sounds like a comic relief B-plot in a dystopian sci-fi movie, but this is very real and is happening today. In 2023, there was a review of the privacy standards of 25 major car brands by the Mozilla Foundation. The results were a complete disaster. 25 out of 25 brands failed to meet consumer privacy standards. According to the ABC Australia, the report revealed that murky and vague privacy policies allowed brands like BMW, Ford, Toyota, Tesla, Kia, and Subaru to collect highly sensitive and personal data. Shockingly, this includes information on activity, immigration status, race, facial expressions, weight, health, genetic information, and driving locations. And unfortunately, these companies can potentially sell this data to third parties. And the data is being collected by sensors, microphones, cameras, car apps, the phones and devices that drivers connect to their cars, and company websites. The report named Nissan as the worst offender, as they collected data on, quote, activity, health diagnosis data, and genetic data. But strangely, no one knows exactly how they got this information. Nissan say that they can share and sell consumers, quote, preferences, characteristics, psychological trends, predispositions, behavior, attitudes, intelligence abilities, and aptitudes, end quote. Nissan, or Nissan if you're American, can give this information to data brokers, law enforcement, and other third parties. The report also called out Toyota's privacy policies as, quote, a near incomprehensible galaxy, end quote, spread across 12 separate documents. Mozilla asked the companies about encryption of the data, and only one of the brands, Mercedes, even responded. Jen Kaltwriter of Mozilla was stunned by the findings and would conclude, quote, all new cars today are privacy nightmares on wheels that collect huge amounts of personal information, end quote. It's pretty insane already, but it goes deeper. In March of 2024, the New York Times released a bombshell investigation of how car companies are selling driver data to insurance companies. Data such as where they're driving, how fast they're going, how hard they accelerate and step on the brakes, pretty much everything. The companies involved include General Motors or GM, Honda, Mitsubishi, Kia, Ford, Hyundai, and Subaru, all to varying degrees as you'll soon see. Car manufacturers will always try to hammer this point home. And at a stretch, if you squint your eyes, perhaps you could see it that way. But if we're being real, it turns out that these car companies are making millions off selling your driver data to brokers and onto insurance companies. Your insurance premium could start skyrocketing and you have no idea why. The last thing you'd expect is that your humble car was snitching on you to a large corporation. The New York Times gave an example of Ken Dahl, a 65-year-old careful driver who had never been responsible for an accident. Suddenly, in 2022, he got a rude shock when his car insurance cost jumped by 21%. After shopping around, he realized something strange. Other car insurance packages were suddenly unusually high for him too. Wondering what was going on, he asked an insurance agent and he told him the real answer. He'd gotten a bad report from LexisNexis. Now who the heck is that? Well, they're one of those third-party data brokers. And where did LexisNexis get the data from? From General Motors, who made Mr. Dahl's Chevy Bolt. He dug a bit deeper and got his hands on the actual report from Lexus. It was over 130 pages long, detailing every move that he and his wife had made. 640 trips. It included when he was speeding, braked sharply or accelerated sharply, the time they set off for a trip, and the time the trip concluded. Mr. Dahl would tell the New York Times, quote, it felt like a betrayal. They're taking information that I didn't realize was going to be shared and screwing with our insurance. The raw data from your car is collected, sold to data brokers who analyze it and then send it to your insurance company, all without you having a clue. Some car companies do sell the information directly, and some do have opt-in clauses, but many don't and are on by default without the drivers knowing. Furthermore, these drivers aren't aware that their data is being shared with third parties. Even for those drivers who opt in on data collection to improve their driving, they innocently think it's going to help them become a better driver. There's still no obvious indication that this data is going to third parties. A lot of the time, it's hidden behind the fine print of legal jargon. For sports car enthusiasts, it's a nightmare. The same New York Times report shines a light on one Corvette owner. He took his car out for a spin on a professional racetrack. His car's data was then filled with rapid acceleration events, potentially ruining his car insurance score. Another Cadillac owner had had enough after he was denied car insurance by 7 companies. And of course, his LexisNexis report was to blame. He finally did get car insurance, but for twice the price. Kia, Subaru and Mitsubishi also share data with LexisNexis, who has now collected data from over 10 million cars. Ford, Honda and Hyundai are also selling driver data, but to another data broker called Verisk. Subaru states that it only shares odometer data, according to the New York Times, and Ford denies the claims, saying it was only partnering with LexisNexis to, quote, explore ways to support consumers. They go on to state that they send driver data directly to insurance companies, only with explicit consent. Kia, Mitsubishi, Hyundai, Honda and Acura all have driving feedback apps where drivers can opt in to monitor how well they're performing on the road. But what drivers may not know is that this data is getting passed on to, you guessed it, either LexisNexis or Verisk. So once again, insurance can potentially be affected as a result of their driving habits without them necessarily knowing. Toyota is no angel in all of this. Rafi Alam from the Australian consumer advocacy group Choice states, quote, "When we looked at Toyota's privacy policy, we found that these connected service features will collect data such as fuel levels, odometer readings, vehicle location and driving data, as well as personal information like phone numbers and email addresses," end quote. And all of this isn't to mention the risks of data breaches. Unfortunately, it's just a sign of the times. Data collecting technology is becoming ever more common in newer cars, and much of this can't be opted out of. Most new cars today will have some kind of location tracking technology included, but does it have to be this way? Critics argue that these data collection practices are non-transparent. Hidden clauses in massive complicated contracts aren't good enough. California's privacy regulator, Senator Edward Markey, have called for investigations into these data practices. He questions whether this violates consumer protection laws. Overall, the intersection of connected car technology and insurance rates poses important questions about transparency and consumer rights. Our cars can't just be spying on us without our knowledge. And writing it all in the fine print, hidden within walls of legal jargon, isn't good enough either. It should be clear that there's a need for more robust consumer protections to ensure that drivers are fully aware of what data is being collected, how that data is being used, and how it can impact insurance costs. To be fair, driver data can be used for good things, such as faster emergency response times and predictive maintenance. But the potential for abuse is massive. We need to stop and think, do these benefits outweigh the risks? When it comes down to it, we've been driving cars that have been offline for over a century with very little issue. As a society, we're only just beginning to grapple with how important our personal data is. The fact that data harvesting has made its way into the auto industry should be enough to give anyone pause. I think it's about time we started giving control back to consumers.
Whoa. That was a lot to take in at one time, eh? And something about insurance companies. This is totally what I believe, because I live in Hurricane Central, and there's people that have been here for decades that never had an insurance claim or anything, and have paid thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars into these things, because it's not cheap to have housing insurance here. I know we weren't talking about housing insurance, but the same thing with car insurance. So you're saying you can't have a fast car and go to the race track and race it? We grew up, my brother, built a lot of cars, worked on it. He's a boy, he likes fast cars. And they used to go down to the racetrack there in Buffalo all the time, and they went a lot of other places, but the point being is that's bullshit. This is America. We like fast cars. We like to go fast in legal places, and some like to go fast other places, and that's when you get tickets and you pay your dues, and that's what it is. Okay? We shouldn't have some insurance company or anybody else telling us how we should be treating our car. What if I'm in what if I have a piece of property and I have a car I want to do donuts in my property that's all cleared out? I'm not going to hit nothing. I just want to do some donuts in it. Oh, I can't do donuts in my car on my own property where nobody's getting harmed, because now I'm going to have to pay more insurance. That's no fun. They're turning the world into no fun. Who wants to live in a no fun world? And that goes with this one too. I know it's off topic, but I'm going to bring it up. One part of it's pretty funny because I think it's funny. But have you noticed how all the buildings are being repainted in grays and dark drab colors? I'll have to get the 360 out and go downtown. All the buildings downtown, even the new ones that are being built, are all gray and black colors and just like, ew. So my joke is, so they say that, the Jews own everything, right? So they must be getting a real good deal on gray and black paint. Anyways, you didn't grow up with Jews, I did. My grandma could haggle like nobody's business. And sometimes they would just give her extra. The older she got, and we would go to the flea market. we would leave there and she'd have so much stuff that she got either for dirt cheap or for free because, you know, she liked the flea market. I love that lady. So, it's taking your information there, but this other video is going to give you a little bit of something to be able, I'm trying to make sure that your car will only be able to have limited information on your driving and whatnot. Now just think about this, okay? Imagine what the Tesla does. You know they have videos of that guy that blew up that Tesla truck. You know they have them, right? They have audio, they have video, they have the whole 9 yards. But you're not privileged to that information. You damn American. You're not allowed to know. But at least this will help with maybe lessening the blow a little bit.
Is your car spying on you? Here's how to check. You see, I just purchased a Toyota 4Runner after 18 years of driving a Honda Element. It was like a brick phone on wheels, but now I'm driving a smartphone with all kinds of tracking technology. So the first thing I did before even leaving the dealership was turn off as much data collection as possible. I downloaded the manufacturer's app, entered my VIN, and then declined all connected services features. These wirelessly transmit my location and vehicle health to Toyota. Then I went to vehicleprivacyreport.com, entered my VIN, and I about died when I saw all the tracking still on my car. My 4Runner collects identifiers like my name, mailing address, email, and demographic info. It also collects biometrics, including my geolocation, driver's license, and financial info. And I learned my car not only tracks my data, it sells it too. My car sells information to affiliates like sponsors, partners, and advertisers. It shares my data with service providers and its affiliated insurance company, but only if I've provided consent, which I don't remember doing. And finally, it should come as a surprise to no one that car companies will share your data with the government when legally obligated to do so. So I opted out of targeted advertising, the sharing or selling of my data, and any marketing communications. Now check your car's privacy and let me.
Well, maybe that'll help a little bit. I mean, maybe. But as I see it, you can opt out of it, right? But doesn't mean they're still not listening. Oh, man. You're not allowed. How dare you make that choice for yourself? Listen, it doesn't matter what choice you want to make. When you're by yourself or you're in your house or you're anywhere, you shouldn't have to worry about people listening to you. You should be able to have a private conversation with a friend or whatever. Or if you're driving in the car and you may get a little bit of road rage. Okay, some people yell at other cars. Just saying. I've been known to yell at a few cars myself. I do live down in God's waiting room. You hear me? There's a lot of retired people here. Some of these old folks can't even see over the steering wheel. Anyways. My allergies are killing me. My nose is starting to run. That's just lovely. So, our next video is on how planes fly over you in crowds or anywhere that you are, and they can take the data right off your phone. Thanks, Lockheed Martin or Raytheon. So let's see what this one says.
You know how they tell you not to take your phone to a protest? I always thought that's because that if you got arrested that they could crack it open and get all of your secrets. But if you look overhead, you might see a helicopter or a small fixed-wing Cessna that is probably equipped with one of these. That's a dirt box. Dirt boxes are part of a secret spying plan using a technology developed by Digital Recovery Technology, a subsidiary of Boeing. These dirt boxes are deployed in planes over protests where they pretend to be the most reliable cell phone tower in the area. So they perform what's called a man-in-the-middle attack. Your cell phone thinks that this is a valid tower, so it connects to it and gives them all of your information. These boxes are deployed at airports all over the country, as well as large gathering places like Disneyland, where they're able to suck up the information of millions of people without a warrant. The FBI also oversees the use of these by state and local governments, which I'm sure is never a...
So, you know, when you're watching the news and they say, oh, so-and-so broke out of this place and we can't find them. You know so-and-so went and got a phone. You know they did. You know that them airplanes carry a lot more kind of technology to find the people in the woods. But they just like to not tell you all the truth, like NBC. You see, I'm going for NBC. That's the one I'm rooting for being taken out first. I know everybody else is going to be like CNN and maybe ABC or CBS, but I'm going, my bet's on NBC. And the reason why I say that is because I think a lot of people watch the nightly news. Forehead, Lester Holt. And I think they need to be taken out first because they're showing videos right now of how the what do they call them? The migrants seeking asylum are being snatched out of their homes or all this other crazy crap. When I called them a whole bunch of times on, hey, you guys going to go down to the border? Another girl got raped on the border. Another this, another that. You know, America Frontline News. And, you know, these people are down there. You're lying to the American people. You're not telling them the truth. And I know that other people were calling too. It was when I put their number out there in different chats, their comment line. But two, because I'll try to look for it, but I can't find their comment line anymore where you could just call them and say something. I don't like sending emails. I'd rather call, you know, because I feel like that's more personable and I want them to hear my voice, you know. But I'm still voting for NBC to be taken out, okay? Because they seem to be the ones that get all the front spots, and there are a lot of the narrators during these debates, or I use the right word, narrators, because they get to change the perspective whenever they want to, because they're assholes. So our next video is on computer security isn't good enough. Okay, well first let's take a little break and watch my amazing commercial.
Messengers of truth you see, giving life to you and me. Birds above with wings so bright, carrying hope into the night. Songs of love we can't ignore, whispering secrets to our core. Water cool and purely clear, quenching thirst and washing fear. Flows through valleys ever free, a silent song, a gentle plea.
So thank you for enjoying my commercial. Now, before we go on to the next video, I would like to share with you that everybody, you know, we talk about how the government's putting up cameras everywhere, which they have been for a long time. I've been back from New Mexico for almost 14 years right now. And when I came back, I noticed more and more cameras at the street lights and stuff, you know, to catch red light runners. Yeah, whatever, bro. Listen, you can blow that smoke up someone else's ass, you dig? So my point is there's cameras everywhere, and most people now have Ring cameras, or you have your cameras inside your house because you want to be able to talk to your dog and give it directions on doing something. Well, either don't leave your house or take your damn dog with you if you want to talk to it while you're gone. I mean, whatever. Like my neighbors behind me, their privacy fence is just short enough, and it's not their fault, but why they put a camera right there on their back storage thing they built is beyond me, but it looks directly onto my back porch, and I know, so I flick it off every once in a while. I mean, why not? You want to watch me, I'm going to flick you off. There's no sense of you having something in your backyard. It's not like it's pointing towards your door. It's pointing out towards my way. And people can say anything they want about cameras. I understand how they work, perfectly clear. They just show you the bad film, and everywhere else, you know, these evil son of a bitches, the Northmen, not Norse, North as in North, Northmen, and all their little cronies and their little whatever. They watch everything. So if you have a camera in your bedroom, or you have your TV, your smart TV in your bedroom, and you're banging your husband, you just got porn. They got you. They did. They got you. So let's look at computer. Hold on, I can't get my thing to work. Okay, there it is. Computer security.
Assuming that you're not a drug dealer and you're not, obviously being hunted by the government, and you want to protect the anonymity of your IP address, certainly Tor is the best thing for you. Tor is a common tool used by government agents, it's used by dissidents, it's used by journalists to protect the anonymity of their communications. It's called the onion router. So basically you're entering the Tor network, it's passing it to another Tor node, to another Tor node, to eventually what they call an exit node going out to the internet. And it's designed in such a way to make it extremely difficult to track back the person that's using it. However, being myself, I trust no one. And I think about recent cases like Russ Ulbricht, the guy who was convicted of running Silk Road, the online drug emporium in the dark web, is the FBI was eventually able to catch him. So I always think, could there be a vulnerability in Tor that we don't know about? Mind you, this is not encrypting your information. It's just to be anonymous. So your IP address, which kind of ties you to your internet service provider, cannot be tracked. So when you use the web, there's different protocols. There's HTTP that basically is in the clear. There's no encryption. And then HTTPS means it's using secure sockets layer, which means it's creating a tunnel between your computer and the server you're accessing. And in that tunnel, it's passing your information, but the tunnel is encrypted. So nobody could see inside. So it protects the transport communications of your activity on the internet. If you install the HTTPS Everywhere plugin or extension, depending on what browser you use, what it does is it forces your browser to go to the SSL version of the site. Because a lot of sites out there support both the non-encrypted version and the encrypted version. This forces you to use the encrypted version so your transport is kept confidential.
Well, that might help a little bit, I guess. Look, I don't think any of it's going to help. That is their whole absolute plan, is to watch you all the time. It's like their own little reality TV show. Your Roomba, your little automated vacuum cleaner, it's got a camera on it. So when you walk past it naked, you think you're just being innocent in your house. No. Some pervert out there is probably watching you. You see, I'm laughing because I don't have any of those things in my house. I don't even have a microwave. I know. A whole bunch of people are going to be like, you don't have a microwave? Everybody has a microwave. No, I don't microwave food. So everybody doesn't have a microwave. And no, I'm not so poor that I can't have a microwave. I have an air fryer, an all-metal one, not one of those plastic ones. Matter of fact, I have the Emerald 360, and I love that son of a bitch. I don't microwave food. I don't warm up food in a microwave. I don't even heat up my coffee in a microwave. I don't use a microwave. I prefer it not even to be in my house unless it's going to be unplugged and I'm using it as a Faraday box. Period. We already have enough radiation around it. Why do I want to keep pumping it into my food? I know a lot about food. As you can tell, I'm a little chunky. So I eat it. Eat it a lot. Anyways. In my other videos, when I told you that they were watching you and you thought that I was being a little dramatic or maybe I was being paranoid, I'm not being paranoid. I don't get paranoid like that. Okay? And it's factual. I really don't get I've never been paranoid like that. And I'm going to tell you, this is probably not a good story to use as a reference, but it should be a pretty good story to use as a reference. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel about it, because I'm not bragging about it. I'm not, I'm just giving you a life experience on how I see it or how I understand that I'm not a paranoid person. Back in the day when I was about 16, 17 years old, we ate some acid, and a buddy of ours was like, hey, you want to do some cocaine too? And I was like, well, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Why not? I've never done acid and cocaine at the same time. Let's see what it does. I'm a little bit of a fly at the seat of your pants type of chick, okay? And I grew up in the 90s. This was probably like 96. And so we were, partying and whatnot, and he started, smoking it up. I wasn't smoking it up because I think it's better to snort it than to smoke it. Even though I don't do that anymore, I'm just saying there's a very large difference. So he started getting paranoid and told us that there was somebody in the bushes and shit. And I'm tripping, all right? So I'm seeing, whoa, like trails and shit. And I looked at my buddy, I'm like, are you for real? We got to do this. We got to fuck with him. We got to do this. Will be fun. This is going to be fun for us. And he's like, all right. We started fucking with him. He ended up kicking us out. But anyways, there was a playground down the street, and we went and swung on the swings, and that was real fun. But my point being is, I don't get paranoid like people do. That's not me. When I'm telling you that they're watching you, or somebody is watching you, that's because I'm being serious, factual. Look, God watches you all the time. Everybody on an individual level. And some people ask, well, how does he do that? Because God has people that work for him. And there's lots of them. And they watch over everybody and they take notes and they, I'm trying to give a simple way of an explanation. So the inversion of that is what the evil ones are doing. Okay? And their version of it is they're going to watch us on all this technology and all this cameras and all this other stuff all the time because they want to collect the data and the souls and everything else so they can think that they can be as strong as God. Okay? But that's not true. You can't be as strong as God. God doesn't collect souls. He makes them. There's a difference. Okay, he's the maker of the souls and the spirits. He does, that's what he does. The evil one has to twist it and turn it and then try to take some credit for some weird shit, dude. I mean, come on, brother. Don't you know already? You have lost how many times? How many times have you lost? How many? All that information's coming out. And all the things that were taught to Noah, for him to keep this place straight and to be taught from generation to generation is going to come back. And you will no longer get away with this in America. America is the shining light on the hill. And what I mean is it's God's light, not the fake light. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's fake, that's real, that's fake. Okay? So, on that note, I'm sorry about the video earlier. I got pretty upset at the end there because I didn't know that Odyssey was still playing it live. It took the whole video, put it all up there. We had to go back and put it up. But anyways, this is today's knowledge on February 1st, 2025. Please take it to heart and listen to it. And no matter where you are or what you're doing, I hope you're having a good day, a good morning, good afternoon. And as we go on, I will get better at doing this so it'll be a little more not so choppy. Okay? I really do hope that you have a wonderful night. And I always want you to know that you're loved. Each and every one of you. It's just time for the real truth to come out. And nothing but the truth. So help me God. I'm learning how to use this, so I thought it was going to go right into the ending, and it didn't. But that's why you guys like to watch people be real. Because you got to be real. Goodbye.
You is kind. You is smart. You is important. You is smart. You is kind. You is important. Oh, that's so good.